If you like astrology, we have a new moon in Libra tonight, which means harmony, commitment, and increased understanding of your most cherished relationships. If you like LaSalle sports, which hopefully you do if you're watching the show, we have a new week of games to talk about, which means recaps, analysis, and a very happy Siobhan. Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Tyler Small. If you're like me and don't like astrology, it's okay. It's just space racism. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. We've got recaps for soccer, field hockey, cross country, swimming, golf, and a partridge in a pear tree coming up shortly.
And later, Siobhan, would you stop talking about astrology? I don't care if you're a pear tree or a partridge. We're talking about sports here.
All right. Well, first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1. LaSalle's Mary-Kate Winkler was chosen as the NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week on Wednesday afternoon. Winkler was a major factor in their conference win over Rhode Island, taking 6 shots and scoring the go-ahead in the 5th minute of her first score of the collegiate season.
Number 2, the Atlantic 10 Conference announced its women's basketball television package on Wednesday afternoon. Of the 16 games shown, CBS Sports Network will air the LaSalle at St. Joseph's game on Monday, January 7th. The game is part of the Atlantic 10 celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And as always, the rest of the Explorers games will be broadcasted on ESPN+.
And number 3, it's been a pretty light week here at LaSalle, but we are only 33 days away from the tip-off of the basketball season. When we look at the men's side, 33 days is divisible by 3 11 times. The last time LaSalle beat Sacred Heart, the team they were playing in their opening week, they got 11 threes. They actually got 10, but that's besides the point because the other fact that I have about the number 11 is that the number 12 seeded Ole Miss is the team that we beat in 2013 to move on to the Sweet 16. So if you take 12 minus 11, or minus 10, it equals 11. Therefore, LaSalle's making the tournament.
Right.
Right.
So Mary-Kate Winkler getting Student Athlete of the Week was really huge for her.
Yes.
It was really great to see her get that goal that got women's soccer that win on Thursday. So it's really nice that they're getting that offense going and did get a win within this week.
Yeah, I mean, she was a huge factor, obviously. She was talking earlier about how great the pressure was for that team to score in the 5th minute and get that early access before getting their second shutout of the season for Arguardo. And it was just a full team effort, obviously, to take down Rhode Island, get that first A-10 victory of the year, a season that has been less than ideal for them so far. But just overall, having her finally get her first goal off the board, I think a lot more coming in bunches for her soon.
And it's very exciting that you will be able to see LaSalle versus St. Joe's on CBS Sports on January 17th. It'll be really cool to get that kind of national broadcast and reach that wider audience. And of course, you can watch all of the LaSalle home games on ESPN+. So it's really cool that now everyone knows that we can, watch basketball. Obviously it's a huge sport for this school, so it's always nice to get the schedule and see where and when we can watch it.
Yeah, and the women's side is going to be fun. I mean, they get that Martin Luther King game against St. Joe's. It's always a highly anticipated matchup whenever you have these Philly rivals going at it, especially the Red Hawks versus our Explorers. And it's going to be exciting, too. And I know I was just joking about the men's side, obviously. Well, I'm not joking about them making the tournament, obviously.
No,
but,
obviously.
I mean, there's going to be plenty of games we can see on ESPN Plus there as well. But they also have Villanova coming up early in their schedule where that will be on ESPN, too. They're going to get a couple nationally recognized games. And I think both sides are really going to show their true potential throughout this season, what they've been working so far this season for.
Oh yeah, basketball season is well upon us, and we obviously cannot be more excited for it. But that's it for top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. Men's soccer faced off against VCU under the lights at McCarthy Stadium and didn't get off to the best start after giving up a goal in the 5th minute of play. Not to be deterred by the early deficit, the Explorers answered with a beautiful team goal. The forward motion started with senior Amari Cotterell, who found junior Aymar Luanda on the right side of the field. Luanda then passed the ball off to sophomore Scott Beeks, who placed a perfectly weighted cross into the center of the box for sophomore junior Nare to put in the back of the net. LaSalle put up multiple scoring opportunities after their first goal, but couldn't seem to capitalize. Senior Nigel Buckley narrowly missed a chance to go top corner in the beginning of the second half, and later combined with Beeks to try and give Nare his second goal of the night, but the game ended up 1-1 at the end of regulation. This meant a period of overtime, and with 2 minutes left in OT, VCU were able to notch a second goal to hand LaSalle a 2-1 loss.
Women's soccer had a pair of Atlantic 10 matchups this past weekend, first hosting the Rhode Island Rams. The blue and gold jumped out to an early lead thanks to Mary Kay Winkler, who found the back of the net in the 5th minute. Alyssa Van Hurk found Molly O'Brien, who found Van Winkler over the middle of the field, who was able to capitalize despite 5 more shots on the net for Winkler and 14 team shots overall following that early goal, that would be it for the Explorers offense. Thankfully, 1 goal is all they would need as they shut out the Rams for their second shutout of the season and their first Atlantic 10 win of the year. Marcela Arguardo picked up 4 saves and her second of the year. On Sunday, the Explorers would not see the similar success that they got shut out against Richmond. Sophomore Kelly McGorty had a handful of excellent looks on net, but was not able to capitalize in the 2-0 loss.
The field hockey team was on the road to go against Georgetown, taking a break from their A-10 conference slate. The opening 15 minutes were quite uneventful as neither side put themselves on the board and only 4 shots on net were generated. However, early in the second, G-Town was able to break out, scoring with a little over 14 minutes left in the half to start a lead over the blue and gold. The Hoyas were able to hold on to their small lead until early in the third. That's when junior Hannah Yanovich scored on a fed shot from sophomore Tatum Johnson to tie up the match. As the Hoyas kept the pressure high, outscoring the Explorers 18-8, they eventually arrived back late in the third to put the score at 2-1. Looking to tie up the game again, the blue and gold went into the final period with a single goal deficit. However, G-Town had a scoring opportunity off a breakaway that made it past goalkeeper Ryan Curley. With a 2-goal advantage so late into the match, the Explorers could not find the back of the net for the remainder of the game, falling to Georgetown 3-1.
Cross country traveled up to Lehigh for the 47th annual Paul Short Run event. And let me tell you, it was not a short run at all. The men's team placed 11th in the 8K with 348 points, while the women's team earned 14th in the 6K with 472. Ibrahim Kadir continued to pace the blue and gold on the men's side, finishing 3rd with 24 minutes and 1/10 of a second. Tom Camboa finished 39th in the first competition of the year, while Matthew Bridges bested his previous 8K record by almost 2 minutes, finishing in 60th. For the women's side, El Mancini led the pack once again, claiming 38th with 20 minutes and 55 seconds, and sister Elizabeth and Christine Mancini also finished in the top 100, finishing 40th and 73rd respectively.
The men's and women's swim team competed at the Catholic Invite for their first competition of the season. The 2-day competition found the women's team finishing in 2nd and men's in 4th. For the women's team, junior Tony Rafferty took a 2nd place finish in the 100-yard freestyle, clocking in at 53.47 seconds. Along with Rafferty, senior Sarah Rosetto also took a 2nd place finish in the 200-yard backstroke with a time of 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Senior Phoebe Shea picked up a win in the 3-meter dive with a finishing score of 581 points. The women finished 2nd, right behind host Boston College. For the men, junior Jay Kramer took 5th place in the 1,000-meter freestyle with a time of 10 minutes and 38 seconds. Juniors Trenton Burr and Alex Correa finished 2nd and 3rd respectively in the 100-yard backstroke. For diving, junior Sam Henninger also took the top spot in men's 1-meter dive with a score of 273.8. The team collectively scored 395 points to put them in 4th place.
Men's and women's golf both hit the links this past week, and both teams took 11th in their respective competition. The men's team placed 11th in the Matthew Otto Intercollegiate outing and were led by Alex Geekus, who shot 1 under par in the final round. The freshman carded 3 birdies in the opening round, with his only real blemish being a double bogey in the second. Nikita Romanov shot even par in the second round, responding 2 bogeys with 4 birdies in the next 7 holes, including an eagle. Christian Fortis finished his round on a positive note, lowering his total score by 3 strokes in the back 9. The ladies went to the Navy Fall Invitational and were led by Kaylee Zeman, who posted the lowest score for the team in both rounds. Zeman carded 4 birdies and finished 6 over. Grace Hickey and her best round as an Explorer, shooting an 82.
So, a lot to talk about. We welcome swimming and diving into the mix, and they did pretty well for their first competition, 2 and 4th, which is definitely not bad at all. And we've had a couple of explorers take those, top 3, top 5 spots. So, definitely a very promising first outing for our swimming and diving team.
Yeah, and just to be able to come back after all the craziness of last year and being able to revitalize their season and pretty much pick up where they left off, because they've been such a powerhouse program since at least the 4 years that I've been here. We're seeing a lot of positive reinforcements from there, but you see a lot of it in the same way in this cross-country team. I mean, we talk about the Mancini sisters time after time on this show, and how could you not?
Yeah.
But it's just been Ibrahim Kadir the same way. He's been leading the pack respectively by a wide margin with his teammates following up. I mean, he's just one of the few senior leaders that they have on this team. But he's been incredible so far, and he put up the numbers once again.
Yeah, and men's and women's soccer, the women had a really good outing on Thursday with the 1-0 win, but then they get shut out on Sunday. It's a very disappointing thing, just, when their momentum starts to get going, they kind of fall off again. And then the men's was really disappointing, because that's probably at the game the best that they've performed all season. And the midfield was really holding it down. They were putting in these great shots forward, and they lost it in overtime. And it's one of those things where you just have to ask what went wrong, why didn't things, go the way that they should have. So another kind of disappointing week for them, which is a disappointing week for us as well, because, we want to see all the teams do well, and that's just not what happened this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately not. I mean, we just keep seeing it week after week. If both these teams 10 games into the season, obviously, you would have told me both of them had 3 wins. I would have been surprised, but at the same time, and this is no shots fired or anything, if you told me field hockey was 5-7 at this point, I'd be surprised in the other way. They've been incredible so far. They continue their home dominance with now they're 5-1 on the season after winning once again last week. And they're starting to get some recognition just in the Atlantic 10 overall. I mean, Tatum Johnson now with 19 points. That's 5th best in the entire conference. And you look at Sophia Pla, who has 8 goals already, the true freshman. I mean, she's been incredible. Now she's 3rd most goals in the Atlantic 10. And it's just been incredible. Curley, what she's been able to do, only allowing 2.3 goals per game. She has been a huge catalyst for this team's success. That we saw that there would be progression, obviously, a coaching change, a lot of good young talent coming up. I don't think any of us expected it this soon, and it only leads you to believe that big things are ahead of them in the nearby future.
Yeah, much deserved recognition for them. And that's it for recaps. But when we come back, I got to talk to Women's Soccer Zone Riley Keenan and Alyssa Van Hurick. Stay tuned.
According to statistics, 40 million adults suffer from depression or anxiety. 1 in 4 college students are affected by this as well. You never know who is going through something, so you should always be kind to one another. A little kindness can go a long way. It might even save a life.
It's the small things that make a big difference.
Welcome back. After splitting their last 2 games, I got to talk with Riley Keenan and Alyssa Van Hurk about their feelings on the season so far. Check it out. Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan. Welcome back to another edition of On the Sidelines. I'm here with Riley Keenan and Alyssa Van Hurk from women's soccer. So on Thursday, you guys had a 1-0 victory. So can you just take us through that game and what led up to that win for you?
Yeah, that was a great win. We came out with lots of energy and we continued to press the full 90 minutes so that we pressed their back line like crazy, so that caused our first goal and the goal-winning game. So that was really good.
Pretty much. I mean, first 5 minutes, a goal is incredible. It was a great goal too. Pretty much the whole game afterwards, we just had to defend and make sure that we didn't let up. We had a lot of chances, I would say, but we couldn't finish, but we got the job done, and defense did great. Offense made very good plays, and we definitely got better that game.
And then keeping a clean sheet is no, small feat. So what does it feel like when you guys are able to kind of hold your defense and keep the other team from scoring at all?
So having a shutout is always a good feeling. We always take a lot of pride in that, and that's always our goal every game. We just make sure we lock in, stay connected and tight, and just whenever there's, we don't want to play around with it at the back. We just want to send it forward. So
just keep the communication on point, and half a mistake could cost us a goal, so we just know that we have to stay tight with them and stay connected and get the job done.
And unfortunately on Sunday there was a 2-0 loss, so what does that do for your guys' motivation to work going into your next game?
So it's always tough losing at McCarthy, home grounds, but we tend to not hold on to it. It doesn't get us too down, and it wasn't a do or die game, so it's extra motivation. So far we've worked really hard at training this week, so yeah, it's just that extra little kick. We never try. Our goal is to never lose 2 in a row, so that's good motivation.
I mean, it was a tough loss, but I think there was a lot of positives throughout the whole game. We had many chances. I think we dominated most of the game. They caught us, twice, unfortunately, but I would say there was a lot more positives than negatives throughout the whole game. So I think the morale was still pretty high at the end, and we really have been getting better every single game. So even though it was a loss, it really didn't get us down, and we're excited to get after it.
And you guys have had some pretty tough opponents so far this season, and this is the first time we've really talked to women's soccer. So is there any players in particular that you want to highlight or kind of shout out as really being standout players for the team this year so far?
I think our team in general is doing so great. Everyone is putting in all the effort, creating so many opportunities, and we're working together as a unit, creating so many chances, and we've had tough games, but we're learning from them, and it's really we're building upon it in training. So yeah, I don't know.
Our coach was talking about it the other day. I mean, we have 75% of the team has only played less than 20 games, so with less experience, I think we're doing great with transitioning, and I mean, it's promising for next year that most of the team will be together. I would probably shout out the freshmen just because there's 10 of them, and their transition and their energy and their ability to just get with the program basically and make an impact right away. It's been incredible, and the goalkeepers as well. They've been switching them out every game, but I mean, between the two of them, it's a really good competition, and they both have really come out big, so it's pretty promising.
Well, that's great to hear, and obviously we want to wish you guys luck for your next game. So that is all for our women's soccer segment, and I will send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Siobhan. We have one last quick break, but when we come back, we'll check out this week's upcoming schedule for the Explorers.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. MS attacks the brain and spinal cord. It's the most common neurological disease leading to disability in young adults. Walk MS brings communities together creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Join us. Together we are stronger. Walk MS fundraising accelerates research breakthroughs and life-changing breakthroughs. It will take all of our passion, determination, and fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at walkms.org.
MS does suck.
MS mucks with your central nervous system. Almost everything about your body, your muscles, your organs, your ability to speak, your ability to understand, your ability to move.
MS took everything from me, everything I thought was important, everything I valued.
I used to jump in a trampoline and swim with the kids.
MS has affected me being a mom because I'm sorry.
Despite MS, I will keep riding my bike.
I will continue to be the strongest mom that I possibly can.
I will still dance with my husband.
I will continue to live the life that my daughter expects me to live.
Multiple sclerosis may be a part of who you are, but it doesn't define you.
I will never stop. I will never quit.
I'm going to keep being me.
Welcome back. Now that we've taken you from the week before us, we'd like to look ahead to and preview the upcoming week for our LaSalle sports. First up, men's and women's swimming have a meet against Drexel in Kirkpool on Friday. Then on the 9th, men's soccer has a Saturday matinee against A10 rival Davidson.
Then on Sunday, October 10th, field hockey takes on Lock Haven at Hank DeVincent. Meanwhile, down at the nation's capital, women's soccer faces off against A10 rival George Washington.
Men's golf starts the two-day-long Elon Invite on Monday before finishing up on Tuesday, and on that same day, men's soccer faces Howard at home. So, to the surprise of no one, I'd like to talk about the upcoming men's soccer games.
Let's do it.
Tyler, I'm interested to get your perspective on this. If you're Taylor Thames, what is your strategy going into these two games, especially their A10 rival game against Davidson?
Just to have offensive pressure, just to have, like, similar to what we've seen with women's soccer last week, just to be able to apply some of the pressure and take off some of the defensive pressure needed by Carlos Mora, who's been their guy in net recently. I mean, we talked about it the last couple of weeks that Mitchell Foster we thought would be the guy. Now that Mora has come back to form, he's played in the last 3, and over that span he's given up 6 goals and 15 saves. So he can feel confident now that at least they've made a decision in that regard. But overall, I think that they just need to give him the easiest game plan necessary, and that just comes from strong forward play and pressure up front.
I definitely have to agree with that. I definitely think that he needs to build this team now around his midfield, because we've seen how strong Scott Beeks has been. We've seen how well he combines with Isaac Sedin and Junior Nare, and that's another thing. Men's soccer doesn't have a very diverse group of goal scorers. It's who you expect. It's Amari Cotterell, it's Junior Nare, it's Nigel Buckley, and obviously, you know, it's their job to score the goals, but you want to have more of the midfield in there, and even some of the defenders getting into that mix too, which brings me to my next point of I love Carlos Mora. I think he's been great. Mitchell Foster's been great too, but we need to start putting Cam Hall in net because he's a sophomore. And once Mora and Brett Werner and Mitchell Foster are gone, Cam Hall's going to be the guy to step up and look up to. But if he goes into his junior year without a lot of experience and a lot of minutes, all these freshmen, you know, new goalies that are going to be coming in are going to be looking to him, and he's going to be in the same position where it's like, well, I don't have a lot of minutes or experience either, so I can't really help you there. So I think Taylor Thames needs to build around his midfield, and I think that, you know, you need to put Cam Hall in net. And honestly, at this point in the season, they're 3-7. It's a learning season. So if Cam Hall makes mistakes, if he doesn't do what they need him to do, let him learn it now, and then for next season, they can come back stronger, and he knows what he needs to fix. He knows what he needs to improve on, and that goes for the whole team. So I think because there's really not a shot at a championship this year with this record, it's just got to be a learning season. You got to let guys make mistakes, and you got to let them use this to improve, come together, and then come back next season stronger.
You took the words right out of my mouth when you kind of bring up that conversation just about kind of chalking up the season, in all honesty. There's still a lot you can learn from it, obviously, but just taking that change in net to prepare for the future, you understand that. And you also understand that that same role can come with somebody else stepping up as a goal scorer. Outside of Nare, Kim, and Buckley, 7 other players that have 1 goal. I mean, it's good to have a distribution, but sometimes guys are going to run into one. But at the same time, I mean, you're coming from guys with a 50 to 60% shot on goal percentage and guys that take about 5 or 6 per game, and the quality isn't there. So it's a mixed bag. And if we talk about a lack of scoring, we can also talk about women's soccer. I mean, obviously, they have a better week than they have in a couple of weeks past. They go 1-1, but they scored in the 5th minute, then they go 175 minutes of play without a goal after that. And that's just, it's kind of unacceptable for this team. There's only one player on it, Benishevsky, that has multiple goals. The rest of it's just been kind of a mixed bag, and just they only have 5 other players that even have a score on the season. So it's just both sides have had an offensive struggle, which can be kind of capitalized considering that there's been so many close games and that it's been strong midfield play and strong defensive prowess. But at the same time, I mean, you can't win games without scoring goals. That's the easiest trick in the book.
Exactly. And, you know, the midfield and getting the balls forward has not been the problem for them. But, you know, when you have someone like Scott Beeks or, you know, Kelly McGorder, whoever, they need to make that run forward knowing I can pass to anybody with the same uniform as me in this box and they're going to score. It can't be, I have to look for Junior Nara, I have to look for Nigel Buckley, or else we're not going to get the goal. You know, they've got to be able to look into the box, see a LaSalle uniform, and know I can pass it to this person. And we're going to have, if not a goal, a good shot on goal that can kind of ignite that offensive pressure. So again, I think it's really just the capitalizing and the getting in the final third and getting those chances into the back of the net that is the biggest problem, which, you know, it's the simple solution to score more goals. But when you have those insurance goals, it takes the pressure off of your defense, which allows them to not allow as many goals. So it really benefits both sides of the field in that regard.
It does, but it's also a tough ask. I mean, to look at Junior Nari, who's having as good of a year as he has, 9 points, 4 goals. To have him basically change his role, because the only way you could see this, it just needs a philosophical change in terms of who's your leading guy. And if you utilize that, obviously Nari's going to have to take that step back, and that's basically giving up on the season that he's been so great in so far.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens over this weekend. And that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com, or you can also check out the digital edition of The Collegian, which now features SportsLine content.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Instagram at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions there. This week's poll is Halloween or Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving is a super underrated holiday, so
yeah,
I'm going to have to go Thanksgiving.
So at least we agree
it's
on
great.
that.
Yeah, for once. But for our entire SportsLine team, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Tyler Small. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the game.